The information contained within this video is not intended to be a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment in any manner. If you have any chronic or recurring conditions, please seek your doctor's advice before starting any new exercise program.
Hey everyone, and welcome to the 7th episode of the ACL Accords. My name is Eli Joseph.
And my name's Kevin Son. Don't wear it out.
In our last 2 episodes, we covered the knee's movement in 2 of its planes of motion, that being the sagittal plane and the frontal plane. Today, we go over the knee's movement, or motion rather, in its 3rd plane of movement, that being the transverse plane.
Rotation,
all of this.
Get that hula hoop going.
All right. To figure out why we're doing this to begin with, please check out the first 4 episodes of the ACL Accords, as well as episodes 5 and 6.
And if you don't, you're a All right, enough talk. Let's get to work.
All right.
As always, we're starting off with a passive and active knee flexion range of motion test. Next, we'll be moving on to the seated 90-90 stretch, where Eli will externally and internally rotate both of his hips. You'll get set up exactly how he is. Point your belly button to the front knee and hinge at the hip, trying to stretch that gluteus medius or the upper butt. You're going to want to keep your back as straight as possible. Imagine holding a vertical plank from the waist up. Then rotate, point your belly button to the mid calf, repeat the same movement, and then finally rotate again, pointing your belly button to your front heel and repeating that same movement. Then we'll focus on that back hip, and we're going to try to internally rotate it by rotating your shoulders and your pelvis back and trying to sit that butt cheek closer to the floor. After that, we'll be using the new range of motion that we've unlocked in the hips with some active hip circles clockwise and counterclockwise. Make sure to keep your spine neutral and rigid at all times and just move through the hips. We'll take the active hip circles to the next level and do them while standing on one leg. You can use a stick, wall, anything to kind of help yourself with the balance. This one should look familiar. It is a hip hinge with a slight twist. Here we'll be pushing the butt out to the left and the right. And once you get comfortable with that motion, then you'll make a rainbow motion with your butt from left to right. After that, we'll be doing a little throwback to the lateral lunge, except we're going to be rotating now. Step out to the side like you would for the lateral lunge, except you're stepping out to the side and behind you to kind of free up your hips a little bit more. Then we're going to get into a split stance position. We're going to hinge at the hips, and following that same process from before, we're going to push our butt out to the left, out to the right, getting our hips to rotate and getting all of the rotation muscles to stretch out a little bit more. Now we're going to focus on upper body rotation. Get down into a half kneeling stance, keep your lower body frozen still, and try to rotate your shoulders and rib cage as much as possible to the left and right. Then we'll take it a step further and combine the upper body rotation with a squat, trying to keep that lower body frozen in concrete, just like the previous exercise. This will be great for stretching out your obliques, transverse abdominis, and any rotation muscles that are located in the torso. Last but not least, we're going to be doing a squat with a lateral step out, just trying to get the knee used to resisting rotation as you step out to the side.
All right, Eli, how are you feeling?
Tired, but I do feel good though. I do feel good.
It's perfect. Your exercises look good. Your form look great. Before we end everything, do you have any questions for me?
I actually do have one question. It's kind of like a nagging suspicion a little bit. I know you do typically say, like, when we do start that the range of motion I gain immediately after a stretch, the exercises won't last. So if that's the case, how do I know that what I'm doing long term is gonna help me restore my range of motion?
I get it. You have some suspicions. You don't believe me. I didn't go through what you did, right? I didn't get ACL surgery and have to rehab through it. So to kind of soothe your anxiety a little bit, we'll bring in one of my coworkers from Equinox, someone that went through a very similar situation as you, right? He tore up his knee, got surgery, and went through the whole recovery process, right? You can take his word for it.
That's
Since you don't
dope.
believe me.
It's not personal. Let's stay tuned for next week's episode when we bring in Kevin's coworker who also went through ACL reconstruction surgery and see how exercises like what I'm doing helped him.